Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood and I have my husband John here with me on the show. You know, many people, when they hear our ministry name, wonder why we limit ourselves to just Asia. Well, we don't see it as a limit because of the fact that more than half of the world lives in Asia. In fact, more people live in Asia than all the other continents combined. Honey, we have a little map that illustrates this a little bit. Can you share that with us now?
Yeah, so here's a map of the world, and as you can see, more people live inside that circle than live outside of that circle. So the majority of the world lives inside that circle, just that circle, and it includes India and China, which of course is major population density. North America is only 8% of the world's population, South America is only 8%, Africa is like 15% of the world's population, Europe is like 12%, Asia is like 57%. And wow. So that's one of the reasons why there's so much to do. Yeah. There's so much to do that how can you say no when an opportunity opens, when the Lord provides an opportunity, how can you say no and walk away? And so that's one of the reasons why Jesus for Asia, we've got so many projects going on.
Right, we have over 40 projects.
Yeah.
In the last 11 years, the Lord has started or brought us into contact with over 40 projects now. So we want to share a little video as an introduction to Jesus for Asia, and then we'll get a little more into Thailand and the situation there.
Sounds good.
All right. So you can see there's something for everyone. If you love children, there are projects for you. If you love adult evangelism, there's a project for you. If you love jungle ministry, there are options. At city ministry, there are so many options. God gives us many options to build up our eternal heavenly treasure. These are the things we are doing, but what about what we're not doing?
And that's the thing that really, weighs on the back of my mind. It's the voices I hear that I don't hear that scream the loudest. The people that don't know that Jesus exists and that there's people that are willing to help them. And so they're not able to call and say, hey, can you help us? It's the people that find out about Christ, that make some kind of connection, that say, can you come over and help? We need this, we need that. But what about all the people that don't know that they can even ask?
Right. You know, the gospel's been communicated for centuries by the written page, not just by being spoken.
Right.
And that's what we want to talk about today, the printed page a little bit.
Right. I mean, can you imagine your life being a Christian, being a believer without anything printed that you could read?
Yeah. In many places, not even any portion of the scripture.
Right. Yeah.
So.
That's great. Yeah.
It's painful. It's painful to think about that, because how do we learn more about God? Through His Word. And His written word and through nature.
Right. And how do we introduce other people to the depth of the knowledge of God without something written, printed, something that you can hand somebody?
Right.
And I know we talked about our media team that's working on DVDs and evangelism using the new media. But there's still, that's really good in introducing and broaching subjects to people. But the depth,
they need the
written, printed word can go so much deeper.
Right.
And you can watch it, or you read it, watch it. You can read the printed word at your own pace and have it sink really in.
Right. So in 2008, share with us what happened in 2008.
Oh my. Well, met a Pastor Doug. We were in Bangkok and we met him. His wife is your good friend from high school days. and found out what he was doing. And we were just learning about Bangkok. But Thailand was a country where it was kind of like a vacation place. Our ministry was in other countries, and we come there to relax. But then when we started talking to Doug and seeing the state of the progress of the gospel in Thailand, our hearts were really moved. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to go and meet him in his office, and he started sharing with me the dearth of materials that they had. And he took me into the office of, it's kind of like the office where all the requests for literature, requests for Bible studies come. And so he took me and showed me what material they have available to send to people that are interested in the truth.
Okay, so let's run that video now.
Yeah.
God's work is languishing, and one example of that here that I live with daily is, what is there to communicate the hope that we have as Seventh-day Adventist Christians? What is there that communicates to the people around us what the Bible teaches about what will happen in these end days? And obviously, if you go to your local church literature rack, you can find tracts on Sabbath and the sanctuary and the state of the dead and the fact that Jesus is coming so soon. But here in Thailand, we're here actually in the office of the Adventist, the Voice of Prophecy. But I want to just have you take a look. Here we have photocopies of lessons that are what I've been told, they're over 60 years old. And you can see here that, the truth is there, but even at my second and third grade level of Thai, some of these words, I can't even read what letter this is. What is that? What is that letter right there? It's a blob of ink. And so how can the truth be clearly communicated when we're dealing with a copy of a copy of a copy? Here's another set this is, because here in Thailand we have Buddhists, and they have the worldview is completely different. And so here, this is a set that looks at what is good in Buddhism. How has God used the truth there to then make a bridge to the Bible? And so here, this is a wonderful set of lessons, but you look at the picture, and what do you see here?
Bunch of blobs.
It's just, it's not quite clear. And
not very attractive.
Yeah, it's needless to say. Then we can look here that...
So when somebody calls interested in Adventism, this is what we send them?
When someone calls, or actually when they write, they come, the letter comes here to the mission, or an email is sent, or, churches ask for literature, and this is what we have. Even though we don't have the sharpest tools, oh God, He is still using them. Look here in this picture. You can see that here is actually, these men are in prison, and the seeds of hope are still going through to them, and God is changing lives despite our selfish greed. We have, there are some other literature. I asked John Sipin, I said, where did you get these printed? We got some new ones here, and I'll just show you these right here. We've got Steps to Christ, and we've got these health lessons. And I said, John, which means leader, teacher, boss, where did we get these? And she goes, the layman paid for these. I said, well, where's your budget? She goes, I don't have a budget. And I said, where do you get this stuff reprinted when you run out? And she says, we don't. We just use what we have until it's all gone. And it just breaks my heart, because even at my former church in our district, our local church literature rack was bigger and had more stock than what we have here at the mission. It was more well stocked than what we had here at the headquarters to serve an entire nation. And there we're just trying to serve 1 or 2 cities of 50,000 instead of a nation of 65 million. We have prisoners who don't know the hope because we don't have the lessons. We have this entire city here in Bangkok of 13 million who they have not heard it in compelling and creative ways because we don't have the tools or the finances to publish it in vast amounts. So yeah, I live with that. I live with the languishing every day.
That's really sobering.
Yeah.
And very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And as we can see, it was a heavy burden on Doug's heart.
Yeah. His whole time there. Yeah.
So there are many needs for literature.
Yeah.
Not just in Thailand.
Not just a program either. It's not just a literature program. You know, this affects real people. And it can open or close the door for some people for eternal life, which is really important to God. Mm-hmm. And I think as the Lord places His love for others in our hearts, it affects us too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and he's talking about the Thai language.
Right.
Now, there are other languages spoken in Thailand.
Yes, you have Aka, Karen, Mian, on and on and on. I've read once where there's 78 different languages. I haven't counted them myself, but 78 different languages just in Thailand.
All the different tribes,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the displaced peoples that are living in Thailand now.
Correct.
There are many languages represented in Thailand.
That's right.
Yeah, that was looking at Bible study lessons and small literature, and they were talking about steps to Christ there. So what about Ellen White?
Well, this is the challenge. This is the thing that really surprised me, because I was out in Bangkok by myself, and I had dinner, and the waitress ended up, she was interested in Christianity. She considered herself at some level a believer. And so I got excited. I'm like, would you be interested in a book that I have? And she's like, yeah, because she couldn't tell the difference. She didn't know the difference between denominations. She had very, limited knowledge about what it means to be a Christian.
True
And so I was going to give her Steps to Christ. So I went back to the headquarters of our church in Thailand, and I was just going to pick up a Steps to Christ.
There was an ABC there.
And I looked all over the headquarters, and I couldn't find a single Steps to Christ. Those little books, just a little book. And if you don't have a Steps to Christ, I mean, it's one thing to be a believer in the Seventh-day Adventists and not have a Steps to Christ in your home. I mean, that would be really surprising, actually. But to not have one in the headquarters of our church.
For the whole country.
For the whole country.
They had some when Doug was there, but he said in the video the layman printed those.
Yeah, every once
so they
in
must
a
have
while.
been between printings when you were looking for one.
Yeah, somebody will donate some, they'll print a batch, and then they will
use them
run
till they're
out.
gone. And
they'll
to
go
wait.
for a certain amount of time, who knows how long, without Steps to Christ. And so, now, you wonder, well, do they really, do they appreciate those books even when they have them?
Does it make a difference? Yeah.
Well, I've got a little testimony by a literature evangelist interviewing somebody that had read Steps to Christ. And this is from a Thai person that read Steps to Christ. And this is a video of her talking about what she thinks about Steps to Christ.
Okay.
I'm very happy to know that you have found peace, joy, and happiness of this book.
Yes, yes, very, very
In,
good
in
book.
Thai, what is this?
เคล็ดลับแห่งความสุข
Secret of happiness.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, because one day you told me that this book is a different book from other book that says also about happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read 2 books and I like 2 books very much. It's a bestseller. Million of book.
International bestseller.
Yeah. But when I found this book is very, very old look, not attractive. But when I read, I'm exciting. It's a deep spirit of happiness. I read and read and read. Very, very happy. It's a deep truth for people to become happiness life. I think we should give to Thai people.
This one.
Yeah.
So you can see how powerful that book is to her. And you can see also that there are true, honest people, lovely people. Seeking for happiness. And my goodness, you know, Christ, God, is the source. He is happy God. He's the source of all happiness and light and truth and joy. And his children, he has many children still in other countries like Thailand. And are
And
we
he wants them to
holding
know him.
and are we holding that light back from his kids? I mean, that's our job, is
Or
to
are we
give.
helping it to go out?
Yeah, exactly. So going back to Pastor Doug, because of what he showed me there, I said, people don't know this. People in America do not know the effect of the decline of giving in foreign missions on the front line. So I'm going to go back, and we shot an entire series.
A 13-part series.
Following Pastor Doug around as a church planting pastor in Bangkok. And part of that was to highlight what's happening with our literature. I mean, that's just one little book. What about the other books? What about Desire of Ages? So then when we had the director of Adventist Mission come and visit us, we set up this little challenge for him. Can you find a Desire of Ages on campus?
Okay.
And so we'll roll that clip now.
Okay.
And Gary, I've got a challenge for you today. Have you ever been blessed by the book Steps to Christ or Desire of Ages?
I have indeed.
Okay, so your challenge today is we're going to try to go onto this campus here and see if you can find that book.
Well, this is the Adventist book stand, a good place to find
Right,
it, right?
let's start here.
Do you have a copy of the Desire of Ages, please?
Oh, we don't have, sorry.
Oh, okay, Steps to Christ.
Steps to Christ. We do have only one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thai, is it? Steps to Christ.
As usually we are out of stock for a long time already.
Right.
Yeah, Steps to Christ.
Right, so we have it in English, and how many copies of this do you have?
Sorry, we are out of stock.
We're out of stock of English Steps to Christ.
Is that an accident that it's upside down?
Probably that's why, Gary, that's the last copy, is because
There's a misprint.
It's a misprint.
Yeah. Which Ellen White's books do we have in the Thai language? Do we have like Patriarchs and Prophets?
Yeah, we have
So we have some of that.
What about Acts of the Apostles? No. Great Controversy?
Great Controversy, we have just
Do you have a copy?
new stuff.
So that just kills me that the ABC in a country of 67 million people does not have a Desire of Ages.
Yeah. They don't have Desire of Ages. Acts of the Apostles not even available in Thai.
Never been translated.
Yeah.
Great Controversy. Nothing
They used
available.
them up. They're gone.
Yeah. It's just, so that's just like, it's killing me.
So you took this information that there weren't any available in the ABC, and you went looking for the director of the Voice of Prophecy office.
Yes.
This is Dr. Surachet Insom. He's the director for the Spirit of Prophecy. And Gary Krause is on a challenge today. I've given him an assignment to try to find Steps to Christ in Thai, and he was able to find the last copy of Steps to Christ, but you can see that it's they printed it, it's upside down, and it's not quite perfect, but at least he found one. But the other part of his challenge was to find a Desire of Ages. So can you help Gary, find out why the Adventist Book Center downstairs does not have Desire of Ages?
As far as I know, right now that there is no Ellen G. White book available in our ABC. My first book in my Christian life is Desire of Ages.
Because previously you were a Buddhist.
Yeah.
You came from a Buddhist family.
I came from a Buddhist family, and when I come to join the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the church pastor conduct what we have midweek prayer every Wednesday night, and he used that book, Desire of Ages. We don't have that book. I have one copy at home, and I keep that for more than 20 years. I never give to anyone.
Right.
I never bring it to my office even. I keep it at home because I don't want to lose it.
Can you believe this? Okay, here's a man, here's the pastor, he's the director of the Spirit of Prophecy, and he's holding on to his Desire of Ages because he doesn't want to loan it out because that's the last copy.
And it's not even there where he's living in Bangkok at the mission office. It's at his house.
And
he's not bringing it.
Out of print for almost 20 years. Now,
It was translated 60 years ago.
This was shot 5 years ago. It's still not in print.
Yeah.
So we're talking over 20 years where the Desire of Ages has not been in print in Thai. So all of the church members that have come into the church, all the kids that have been born, that don't speak English, very few of them actually speak English.
Mm-hmm.
All of those kids, all of those people have not had the understanding and the insight that the Desire of Ages, the life of Christ, gives.
We couldn't stand by and do nothing.
No.
So we had to do something.
You have to do something.
Okay.
This is just like not acceptable.
Right.
So we have to do something. Had to do something.
Okay. So it's been 60 years since it was translated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the Thai language? Has the Thai language stayed the same in that last 60 years?
The Thai language is actually more fluid than the English language, so a lot has changed over 60 years. So people that I've asked that read the Desire of Ages from in the old printing, they can't really understand it.
Wow.
Yeah. So in order to do a reprinting, you really had to update the language, and then it's all in, this was before computers. This was all done before computers.
Right.
And so we have to retype it into the computer and then do the layout so that it's all nicely designed and design the book and the book cover and all that kind of stuff. That's what had to happen. And so it's Jesus for Asia, we approached the leaders and says, can we help? And they said, yes, we would love. And they made the voted that Jesus for Asia would help them in making this happen. And one of the biggest challenges that they had in redesigning and putting this book together was getting people that could update the language and that could do the editing work. Editing and making sure everything was grammatically proper and
read properly and didn't change any meaning.
Exactly.
Because, often when you translate something, you can translate the words and you lose the meaning.
Right.
And so that's one thing I know that they've mentioned that they have to watch for.
So what happened is the president, the executive secretary, and the president's secretary have been, in their spare time, going through the whole thing and making it readable, correcting any mistakes, bringing it into the computer, and we're very close to reprinting
being ready to print
this thing. But the thing is that if we can have a larger volume of print, then the per book cost goes down.
Okay.
And so the Lord has brought people in with the same burden that we have, and we have enough to print 5,000 copies. But we're really wanting, and what they requested is 10,000 copies. Mm-hmm. And so we're still looking, and it only costs, at 10,000 copies, a hardbound, nice Desire of Ages book in Thai, which is going to be thicker than in English, because it takes more words to get the same concept. It's going to be about $5 per book.
If we can do 10,000 copies.
If we can do 10,000 copies. So $5 per hardbound.
That's really a good investment.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then we can send these books. There's 10,000 books. There's about 12,000 SDAs in Thailand. So not enough for everybody, but definitely enough for every family, and then some for the literature evangelists to take out and sell, as well as to provide as gifts to government officials, leaders in villages and start being able to share these books as well.
And then once we've printed it the first time, then it's easier to continue printing.
Right, because you don't have to go through all the layout, the upgrading. It's ready to reprint. And so I'm really, really, really excited about this. This really has to happen, and it really has to get out there, because in Buddhism, they value respect of life, being able to give without any personal hope of return of gain, and peace, and getting along well with your neighbors. Those are the things they value. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds
It
kind of
sounds like Christ.
Christ. So when they can get behind the cultural barriers to Christianity is a foreigner religion. It's a foreign religion. It's a Western religion. It's the religion that Hollywood, espouses. If we can get behind that and show them this is who Christ is, this is his values, this is how he treated people, this is how he lived his life. It's powerful, as it was for Pastor Surachet when he started seeing the life of Christ. And this is why I'm so excited about the Desire of Ages. In a lot of ways, even more important than, in my mind, the Great Controversy. Now, there is a place for the Great Controversy, but to start with, I think it's more important to fall in love with Jesus Christ, who he is. Then there's a place for the Great Controversy. So, and that's on the way too.
Christ first.
Yeah.
There are people working on translating Great Controversy.
But there's
also.
there's so much needs for other books as well. You've got the Acts of the Apostles. Pastor Surachet is by himself translating the Acts of the Apostles into Thai, with the hope that someday it'll get funded to be printed. Here he is translating this big old thick book, and other books have not been printed for 20 years. I mean, for me, it's an act of faith.
And other books have never been printed.
Yeah.
Never been translated.
Never been translated, never been printed. This is an ongoing project, but I believe that this is a project that will bring souls into the kingdom. And not just souls, but souls with a depth. And those that
a
are...
deeper understanding of who Christ is.
Yeah, and those that are already in the faith, this deepens their faith, deepens their connection with Christ. As their knowledge of God grows, so does their happiness and joy.
Yeah.
And what better gift to give?
Yeah. Give the gift of Christ.
Yes, the life of Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like to help with the printing of the Desire of Ages, to make this available to churches and pastors, and for the upbuilding of the church in Thailand, as well as introducing others to the life of Christ, you can send your tax-deductible love gift to Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321, or check out our website at jesusforasia.org. God bless you until we see you again.